Hi, I'm Terri Murphy, the senior editor for Realty Times, Women in Business, Women in Real Estate in the Men's Room with Murph. And today we have one of those power women in Business. Her name is AJ Barkley. She is the neighborhood and community lending executive of, I'm sure you've heard of it, Bank of America. She identifies opportunities to drive responsible lending, and we like that part, for low and moderate income borrowers, underserved communities, and multicultural borrowers across the economic spectrum. She's accountable for the end-to-end process strategy through execution for the company's community reinvestment. I really want to learn more about that, AJ, and her commitment to fair lending laws and regulations for home loans, small businesses, and even vehicles. Welcome to the Women's Wisdom Network here at Realty Times.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here today.
Well, you're a little bit of an overachiever, dear. I mean, I'm so proud of being able to do this. I mean, this is you've been the bank's interim retail sales East executive leading 2,000 employees. That must have been fun. Additionally, you were the executive production executive for the Plano centralized and online consumer lending sales division. So you have been in lending for some time. I'm so delighted to have someone of your caliber that can help us with the underserved parts of lending, because real estate and lending are hand in hand. So why is homeownership so important to you and Bank of America?
It's a great question. I think it's important because we all know that one of the means to build wealth is through homeownership. A lot of people want to be able to grow their families, build a legacy for their families. And a lot of that comes through purchasing your first home and perhaps your second home, and you grow and grow. And depending on the property and all of the things that you want to accomplish with that home, you also can pull equity out of the home. And that's where the wealth piece comes to play. So home ownership is just one of the means to build wealth. And a lot of people, are trying to figure out how to do it, but that's a great start. And I don't know, you think about the number of homes we've had, and hard to get the first one, but once you get the first one, it does help you to continue to go deeper, get a bigger house, bigger kitchen, whatever it is, but definitely a means to build wealth.
It's all about that first home. And if, there's a will, there's a way. We have great interest rates. Clearly, especially for women, single women, we're going to get into that. But we know that home ownership doesn't just give us a vehicle to build wealth and great credit, but it's a stabilizer for the community. And so homeownership, especially as we have a larger group of single women. Tell us a little bit about why BofA is so focused on single women and lending.
Thank you for asking. So we do an annual home buyer insights report and a spotlight, and we always get feedback from different demographics, different constituents. It could be people who have a home. It could be people purchasing or thinking about a home. And the most recent data that we received from single women is that 65% of prospective women, home buyers, saying that they're not going to wait till they get married. They're not going to wait for some other life event that happens to start the home buying process. And what we also know is that 30% of today's home buyers, they bought a home while they were single. So even if you were married now, when you purchased your home, 30% of them purchased them by themselves when they were single. Really, I thought important metric that we learned, again, is the survey feedback. The 87% agreed that it's an outdated idea that you have to wait to kind of have, again, that other life event for you or the partner in your life for you to begin thinking about home ownership. And so I didn't realize that, to be honest, until we had really received the feedback. I know we don't wait to do a lot of things. We're independent. We can do a lot of things on our own, but just this non-traditional approach to home ownership is extremely impressive. And we continue to see that even in the environment now that's, pretty challenging.
This is empowering and improving opportunities for kids and young adults. Here's a kicker. This woman, who looks like she's a baby, has 2 sons, 3 daughters, and 4 grandchildren. Oh, so you understand young adults, you understand females because you have 3 daughters. Why do you think women are prioritizing home ownership?
Well, I think women are prioritizing home ownership because they realize that they want things for themselves. And again, not just about wealth, but they want to be able to make decisions around where they live. They're looking for stability in terms of, moving from rental income, which is rising and very high. So they're looking for ways to be more financially well, ways to grow their disposable income, ways to save for the future. So I think it's multiple reasons why women are doing that. And then I think also over the last 2 years, especially with the pandemic and what people have gone through in terms of reevaluating what's important to them, I think some of that prioritization has taken place. What we also learned, and this isn't just women, but it is what we saw is this is actually extremely important to women, where they live relative to parks and restaurants and those things close to their job. They've reevaluated all of those things. And so you move from, I think that people are just evaluating all those things and then understand that you can purchase, if you purchase a home, you could use it for investment property and just all of those things. People have had an opportunity to just reevaluate. And for women, it's become more and more important.
You make a great point here, and you're in 10 years is going to pass either way. So if you can invest in, it's not your forever home. It could be that one studio. It could be that one bedroom on a first floor. That's going to build wealth and security and build credit and show leverage. Like I said, 10 years passes, even if you're younger, it's going to happen. So what are the obstacles do you think that women face becoming homeowners?
Well, the obstacles have been pretty consistent for women, but for other demographics as well. And it's really reserves, the cash reserves to get in a home. If you reflect on your first home, right, you're probably calling people to help you with your down payments and your grants, but it really is the cash reserves. And I'm really talking about closing costs and down payments. And so that has been the barrier. It's been a pretty significant barrier, again, especially for your first home. And that's why at Bank of America, we actually have a program that's called Community Homeownership Commitment. And it specifically helps address just that, cash reserves, non-repayable up to $17,500. And that's a pretty decent amount of dollars that you would potentially have been saving to use for closing costs and down payment. You can then take those funds, use them as emergency cash savings. Maybe you need to, do things with the entire house in terms of furniture, et cetera. So the program does allow you to come to the table along with a low down payment mortgage program of 3% down.
That is wonderful news. And I can't wait to share that with our viewership. If you had 3 tips to give women who are looking to buy a home, what would they be?
I would first say, start to think about how you pay your debt today. Get yourself prepared around financial wellness now when you're thinking about it. 2, start to understand where, in fact, you want to live. Understand if there's those dynamics I mentioned earlier. Do you need to be near things? Do you need to be near shopping? Do you need to be where you work? And just really start to think about that and start to look for properties. And the third, in this particular market, was even more important than ever, is begin to work with the financial institution that you trust and begin the pre-approval process so you understand what you can afford. It's a conditional pre-approval, but it absolutely puts you in a place, if you're ready at that time, to be more competitive with other offers that may be coming to the table, again, in this very, very competitive market.
Yeah, it is competitive, but what's interesting is people say there's no inventory. It's fast inventory. Same number of people are moving. And I think your advice for women to get themselves prepared so that when the right property does come up, they have literally an executable plan. When you say having the funds, that is such an important part of financial stability. And like I said, for women especially, you say they're not waiting for the event. Let's just, whatever that life event is, to actually get into home ownership. You were very passionate about this, Miss Barkley. So tell us, how did you get started in this space?
Well, it's, there are not a lot of people that can get up every morning and say that I get to help individuals and families realize the power of home ownership, realize the power of starting their own business. And so you mentioned the roles in the beginning. I've had the opportunity to play that role in terms of helping individuals and families, but it was really more in the sales execution side of that, right? Just really helping to make their dream come true reality. But when given the opportunity to be part of developing strategies, which would include products and services and helping to sustain home ownership, to be part of that, is extremely fulfilling. And I get an opportunity to do this, to talk to others, to help them and, around demystifying this whole process. And then lastly, there's a lot of misinformation out there around what you can and cannot do. If you think about urban myths and things that have happened over the years. And so I find it extremely rewarding to be part of that, thinking about my own journey, thinking about my daughter's journeys and my granddaughter's journey and all that. And so it's very, very fulfilling to really make that take place or help that take place for others. And the last thing I would say is a lot of people don't believe, we talk about this great work and we encourage people that they have the opportunity to realize their dreams. Again, homeownership is a big dream. It's extremely fulfilling.
It totally is. When you have that key and you know that it's yours, it's a whole new feeling. And we share that common passion to help people and especially women have that freedom and that security that comes with home ownership. It seems like our paths have been very, both Bank of America and you personally, and me and Realty Times Women's Wisdom Network, have that common denominator, empowering people and women, particularly, to have their best lives. And so I want to applaud you on that. I also want to applaud you for aligning yourself with Bank of America. They did a report, and that's how you and I got connected. What was tell us a little bit about that report as we close this out.
Well, despite the things I mentioned earlier about the hurdles for home ownership for women and women saying that they were ready, let's go, I'm ready to make some different decisions around my spend so I can get prepared for a home. There was a couple other things. 74% of single women have not purchased their home because they didn't feel financially stable. And that number is 10% higher than men in terms of them pursuing that. And so that's a dynamic that I thought was pretty interesting. And we just have to be confident and step out on faith and leverage all the tools and resources are there. And then 61% of women say that they want to save for a down payment. And so back to the point around education, making sure people understand the tools and resources. And the fact is they can save and we want you saving, but there's lots of programs out in the marketplace, across the industry, across the country, across whichever financial institution that would really, really help you. And they go unutilized. And so that was an interesting stat. And then the last thing, I think women, and I know this as I reflect myself, they want to model great. And so when we start to embrace home ownership, making those decisions, again, saving money, stable monthly payments versus rising rent, they are modeling great for their nieces, their daughters, their granddaughters, whatever the situation is. And it's extremely empowering for them.
Oh, we are going to be BFFs forever, because I couldn't have said it as eloquently, but I would say it as passionately. So if someone wanted to reach you or someone at Bank of America to help them with this, especially women, what would be the best way to do that?
Well, I know that a lot of us want to be able to do things in the comfort of our own home, to begin this journey around being a first-time home buyer, and you may not be comfortable talking to people about it. And so I'd suggest you go to www.bankofamerica.com/homeownership. And that is a means to get to our tools and resources. We also have our First Time Homebuyer Edu series, which is also a tool that you can use. And then the last one that I think is really cool is our Bank of America Real Estate Center. So imagine this: you're thinking about purchasing a home, you're not quite sure if the program I talked about, which is Community Homeownership Commitment, which is up to $17,500 in closing costs and down payment, along with a 3% mortgage. You could literally, from the comfort of your home, search in our real estate center tool and identify properties that are eligible. So it doesn't get much easier than that, right? And I would just encourage people to do that. Last thing is, you could always speak to a lending specialist within our financial centers if you just want to sit down with someone and really go through the process. The first thing you have to do is feel comfortable in having a conversation and trust the specialist.
Exactly. And so that is excellent mentorship. Get the information, even if you're not ready. Find out what you need to do. Line yourself up, make it a goal, have it some measurable goals to get it done. AJ, so wonderful of you to join us, and so good of you to share that insight from real life. because you have family and you understand the power of homeownership. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm hoping you'll join us again in another segment for the Realty Times Women in Business, Women in Real Estate. Thank you so much for sharing. This is great info.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.